All right, and with that, we are on air. Hello and happy Friday. I'm Selena Baca. This is the Yarn Live Show, and we've got our guest Amanda Pippin here of AEP Crochet. We're going to be chatting with her today about turning your yarn hobby, your yarn life, into a business. Amanda's one who has successfully done that, and that's what the show's about. So we're going to kind of pick her brain a little bit today to see what she has to say, and we'll also have tips for other people who are thinking about this to maybe dip their toes into those waters if they want. So thanks everyone for joining the Yarn Life Show for your daily dose of fiber today. Be sure to subscribe to this channel for notifications on every episode we air.
I'm wearing Yarn Life shirt.
Yes, look at you. Oh, why did I wear it's cold here and I didn't wear mine today. Man, you got me. I love it. Also get tangled up in our fun, upbeat, educational Facebook group that's dedicated to the hanks, skeins, balls, and cake that we love the most, and to the people who make the most of them, like Amanda, because yarn is life. So today's episode is sponsored in part by you great people. So please check out our Yarn Life swag shop to pick up your token tee, tote, or mug today. Every purchase you make there not only gives you some great products that you'll love, like Amanda's shirt today, it also helps us to create more great episodes, bring on more amazing guests. And you can find our shop link for your swag today in the show notes section. So today's show is episode 9. I can't believe we're already at episode 9. I know, lucky number 9. And today it's kind of like a case study look at just one yarn hobbyist turned business owner, Amanda of AEP Crochet. Now, Amanda, like so many of us, began with just a love of yarn that developed into a love of craft, and Amanda loves to crochet, so that's what we're going to talk about today. And she has since evolved into a crochet to order business. That's her business, AEP Crochet. This is not unfamiliar. It's not an unfamiliar path for a lot of yarn lovers, but it is one with lots of uncertainty and a lot of questions for a lot of us. So here we're going to chat with Amanda on a few key topics that will likely speak to more yarn lovers who are looking to turn their craft, especially their yarn craft, into a business, or who might already have a business and who are looking for some guidance or direction. So thank you for being here on the Yarn Life Show, Amanda. It's so great to have you.
Thank you for having me. I love being here.
Oh, good. We're so glad. We're so glad. I was just chatting with Amanda before we went live for a few minutes, and I was just telling her that I really appreciated her being part of the yarn community, the crochet community, because she is this strong, wonderful presence. And I love that we're all in all the same circles, and she's just very warm and supportive. And having people like Amanda in our communities, especially online, it feels warm. It feels like there are real people out there that we can reach out to and that we can connect with, and not just numbers online.
Oh, yay. That's so sweet. Blush.
Me too. I love it. Oh, and we've got some people here. Hey ladies, it's time to crochet. Way to go, Amanda. Crochet A to Z, you are not late to the party. You are here on time. Anybody watching live, if you have any questions for Amanda or on the topic today, which is turning your yarn hobby into a business, please type them in and we'll go over them. We'll go over them at the end of the show. So again, welcome to the Yarn Life Show, Amanda. It's always wonderful to have you and to have you on. And I was hoping we could start by you just telling us a little bit about your yarn business. What is it that you do exactly? When did you begin? Just tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, so I began the actual business part of it at the beginning of 2017. So this year, it's just been this year that I started AEP Crochet. But I've been crocheting since like November of 2015. And I didn't really want it to be, like when I first started, I didn't really want it to be where I just pump out just a bunch of stuff and then hope it sells. I wanted it to be more personable. So I put on my taglines and stuff that it's custom crochet. So it can mean anything. Like that can mean you think you see something in your head and you want me to make it, and I'll find a way to make it. Or you find a pattern and you want me to make it, and I'll make it for you. Like stuff like that is how I define the custom part of that. Like one of my mother-in-laws, she's a graphic designer, and she just she did all the work for me, so it's kind of funny. But she picked out the yarn colors. She even like designed it's a chevron blanket, but she designed the way she wanted it to look and just sent me a picture of it. She's like, "Can you do this?" I was like, "Sure." Like, but she just took all the work out of it for me, and I'm like, "Okay." So I mean, like, but it's stuff like that that to me it makes it more personable. You know, I can give you something that you really want, and you know, and a lot of people like the color work stuff, and so I've kind of been put into that little category of graph GANs and things like that. So, which I like all that. I love it. So that's just kind of what I've been doing so far.
Wow.
The custom stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's really taken off since you've started.
Yeah, I've done really well for it. I've got a lot of like just really like basic orders, and then you know, I still love doing baby stuff, you know, because to me I think that's the most fun. And I just made a baby blanket for somebody, and she didn't pay me for it or anything like that. I just really wanted to make this blanket, so I was like, I'm going to make this blanket for you. Like, it was the same theme and everything. Let me just make this. And so now I've got somebody else that wants me to buy it. They want to buy that blanket. Mm-hmm. So I just do things that I think I know I'll do well, and I do them. So and it just attracts its own. So, and then on top of that, I've got the pattern testing, so that keeps me real busy.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely. Yeah. So you crochet. So this is your day job, basically, is this crochet life that you've taken on. Do you crochet every day, or do you have to kind of take breaks?
I wish I could crochet every day. It's been a real pendulum swing of balance for me since I've started, because I am a stay-at-home mom. And that's one of the things that like influenced me to turn it into a business, is because I saw that there are so many of us that are stay-at-home moms, or that's our first job. And then so they just turned and that's how I was just inspired by that. And so, yeah, I still have laundry and all that fun stuff to do that I have to do from day to day. And I'm usually like on Wednesdays, I like to just like either catch up on my ACA stuff or YPS stuff, or, you know, or I'll do little things that like not working on certain projects, or, you know, it's like I call it my learning day almost, you know, or I'll focus on what I want to do on my Instagram, or what I want to do on AEP on the Facebook page, or, you know, stuff like that. So I try to take at least like one day in the week where I might not be actually physically crocheting, but I'm doing crochet related stuff. So I like to do that. I
love that. So many people don't do that. I call it time blocking, which I kind of, you know, sometimes I block time out every day, but sometimes I just have certain days. Like it's Monday, I do these things. It's Friday, I do these things. Yeah. And I think that it's a key success point. You know, it sets you up for success to block out time for things that you need to do. And I love to hear that you incorporate education in it too, because that's obviously, it's very near and dear to my heart, but so many people don't take time for that. So good for you, lady. I think that you'll really go far. The more you learn, the farther you'll go. Seriously.
Well, and I know it's all a process. To me, I still think I'm a baby in this whole adventure of yarn that I'm in. So I kind of have to, I know that there's ways and there's processes to do it all, and I have to follow those. Like I got to earn my stripes. I've got a lot more stuff to learn than.
I hear you. It's all about the time. The more time you put in, the more confident and comfortable you feel.
Exactly. Precisely.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I love it. How did you decide that, or what was it for you? What were the factors? What were the things that went into you deciding that this hobby could be a business? And tell us a little bit about that for you.
I think it was more, okay, so I was kind of flirting around with the idea, and it was mainly because I'd see people like you and like Repeater Crafter, Sarah Zimmerman, and, you know, she's, you know, all these other people that are mainly designers. But I knew that I had to do something a little bit different, because I didn't really want to jump straight into designing. But I just kind of threw it around. I was like, well, it'll be good to make like, you know, little secondary passive income that I could make, or, you know, some kind of, just because I've never not worked before. So I feel really weird not working and like having a paycheck. Like I sell Scentsy, but I usually just sell Scentsy just so my house smells good. Like I'm not really that into it. So Like, so I was like, well, I can just start like making blankets, or, you know, I threw around the craft fair idea, but that's just really not for me. It's just not something that I can really get into. And then, so I was throwing it around, and one day I was trying to think of something to call my business, and every little witty, you know, pun intended name has been taken. Every time I thought of something, I'd Google it, and bam, it's there.
Yeah.
Think of something else, it's there.
Yeah.
And then, so I was in the shower one day, and I was like, AEP Crochet. I just thought of it, and I kind of wrote it, the logo part, in my shower. And then as soon as I got out of the shower, I went on my phone and I scribbled the logo on an app that I have. And I was like, that way I don't have to worry about fonts. That's mine. You know, I made that. And then I kind of put it out there on Instagram, like, and then I was like, more will be revealed. I was just kind of like putting out there. And then about a week later, my sister-in-law contacts me, and she wants me to make my brother a blanket. And she was like, and I want to pay you for it. It's really weird. I didn't know how to pay myself at first, you know, and I used a little bit, you know, I you know, being in a lot of crochet groups, you see a lot of people like what their formulas are to get paid. And so I picked one, and I did it. And then after my first blanket sold, and as soon as I put that blanket out there that I made it, it's like an OU blanket. And there's a million people wanted one, because, you know, we're OU country over here. So it just kind of like, it was just something that it was just a little spark, and I didn't really know how I was going to do it. So I kind of hinted at it, and someone bit. And so then I was like, okay, it kind of broke me out of the shell of like, okay, I can't do this. It's not going to be as hard, or it's not out of my comfort zone like I thought it would be. So it just kind of happened. I just wanted to be able to make some more money. And then at the same time, I wanted to be able to learn more. And the only way I'm going to be able to do that is if I just do it. So I have to like do these orders that I'm not sure if I can do them, or, you know, and just practice and do them and get it done. And so I've been pretty successful at it so far, of all my little endeavors.
Absolutely. Now, do you find joy in people bringing something new, like a new experience to you? Like, Amanda, can you make me this thing? Like, I love that you gave the example that, you know, here's a picture, I drew it out, and can you make me this chevron blanket with these colors?
Yeah.
Is that where you find like joy and encouragement, and that kind of makes you keep wanting this to be a business, is that you're always finding those opportunities?
Yeah. And that's what, and it's also challenging too at the same time. Cause I know like one of my first like intarsia blankets was it was a graph, and someone found it on Craftsy, and it was somebody else's graph, and she was like, can you make this? And I'd never done one like that before. I knew I could. I wasn't really afraid that I wouldn't be able to do it, but I was like, yeah, of course, yeah, I'll do it, yeah. You know, and I honed in my skills on it real quick, watched some videos and read some stuff, and I just went for it. It turned out beautiful. But yeah, I love that. It's almost like a challenge part as well, because you're just like, they're like, can you make this? Are you sure? Can you do this? I'm like, I'm gonna do a blanket for like a fundraiser, and they just want the theme on a blanket, and they're like, are you sure you can do it? I'm like, yeah, I can do that. That's not a problem. I'm like, of course I can, you know. And so, you know,
I love that. There are very few people that do that for the challenge. Like, some people just are afraid to say no, or they want a new opportunity. But it can be kind of overwhelming to just to say yes to something new. But yeah. I bet you're a lot like me in that, like, you know, I don't say yes to everything, but there are a lot of things I say yes to only because I've never done them. And it would be fun to try something new. It'd be fun to figure out how to size something, or how to perfect it, or just what the magic is that goes into certain categories.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm looking forward to next. Not to do a little ACA plug, but I'm going to do it anyways. For the sizing
I won't even
stuff.
argue with you. Thanks, lady.
But I'm like the sizing stuff, because I'm just I don't know anything about it. Like I've done a few articles of clothing like for you, and that's about it. Like I haven't really. And what's funny is, like, on my bullet journal, one of the first things that I want to design, I have all these designs that I have written down that I want to do. And one of them's a swimsuit cover up, because I was trying to find one this year, and I couldn't really find one that I thought was cute. And I was like, So I sketched it and I've done all this stuff and measurements and all that stuff. And I'm like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Like, I don't know. The first thing I design is something that I've absolutely never made before. So I kind of put that one, like, let's put that further down the list. We'll just move these other up.
Well, I can't wait for the sizing class then, because there's certain things I know now we're talking about this a little bit, but I think it can all be relevant. The reason I'm excited for that class is because, you know, we are going to talk about standard size charts. We are going to talk about standard measurements. Let me get my notes out and I'll tell you, but I'm excited about that specifically. And I'd love to work with you on that because, there's a lot of misconceptions about how things should be shaped. And I think that it's really interesting to break things down, because there are some things to where you think they're shaped a certain way, but then when you really break them down, it's like, oh, well, that is so much more simplistic than I thought it would be.
Right.
Like repeats. So many people just do not understand repeats, either in stitches or in rows, especially more complex the repeat is. And so a lot of people just go, well, I'm either going to wing resizing this or I'm just not even going to try it. And so I'm excited. That's going to be lesson 1. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
So I'd love to follow up with you on that swimsuit cover. That's really exciting.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'll probably need some major help on that. But I just, it was kind of, I'm very realistic, because I don't want to be, I don't want to just pump something out in one, because I think because I have pattern tested for so many, like for you, and then also for the magazine for Happily Hooked, that I have like this set of standards now that I think my pattern should look like. And so I've kind of, so which I think is a good thing, because I think I love the formatting of all of that. And so that's just something that that's definitely something that I'm working on. I'm like writing ideas down, and I think I just need to like bite the bullet and do it. And so I can finally just start designing and not really worry too much about it. And so that's something that's a goal for the future for sure. I just haven't really, the ideas are there, and I could see things in my head, and I know I could make them, but I just have to bite the bullet and do it.
I love that. I love that this is the path that you're taking, and I love that you're so passionate about crochet, because I think this is where innovation comes from in the yarn world. And this is why I was so excited to talk to you, because, you know, a lot of people who just want this to be a hobby, because I think you can very clearly see the people who, you know, only want this to be a hobby, which there's nothing wrong with any of this, you know, hobbies should be enjoyed. But I think that when you do anything in the yarn industry as a hobby, you have very maybe limited time, or you make very specific things for specific people, and you're very specific about that, for lack of a better word. I said
specific 4 times.
Right. I know. Let me say it one more time. No. But you're very intentional about what you make. And like, you know, I see a lot of myself in you, and that I wanted to make, I didn't know what my niche was yet. I hadn't really fine-tuned, and I really wanted to figure out how to make everything. I didn't want there anything that I couldn't make. Not to say that I would continue to make everything, but at the very least, I wanted to be able to figure it out. And that's one of the reasons I took that path. You know, I was a stay-at-home mom. I wasn't used to not working. I always had to have something going on. And so I just started making so many things that I had to sell. Like, I had to sell them. What else was I going to do?
Right. Yeah.
And it was very, you know, I loved getting innovation in finding clients that would say, hey, can you make my baby some pants? And I'm like, I don't know. Yes, I will. I always said yes, because I wanted to figure it out.
Yeah.
And it was a great way for me to test everything, and every project that I make have some kind of purpose. You know, it's not just sitting in a bin somewhere.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, lady. And then, you know, I started designing, and, you know, and I love to hear that people want to design things. I love to hear that, because so many, you know, you, for example, maybe you figure out how to size things in a way that nobody else has thought of, just because you're passionate about making swimsuit cover-ups. Maybe that develops into a new way to make sweaters that nobody's ever thought of before, just for example. Or maybe that turns into some new product, or some new category, or some new approach. And so I love that. I'm really excited for you. And I think that so many people or the people who are interested in crocheting for those reasons. You know, I want to find my niche. I want to really master this. I want to make all these categories. You know, that's how they start.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it was for me. I just wanted to kill some time while I wasn't like at home, while I was at home, instead of playing, you know, Candy Crush for 3 hours. I wanted to do something productive with myself. And so I just I was like, should I knit or should I crochet? And so a friend of mine gave me all of her crochet stuff, like her hooks and a bag of yarn. And she's like, go for it. And I was just like, this is awesome.
Done. Yeah.
Yeah. It was over with. That's all she wrote.
I hear you. I know, been there. I think we've all been there. We've all been doing that. And I think that, you know, the one thing that which we're not done with this segment, the one thing I wanted everybody to go home with on this, you know, in talking about creating a yarn business that you love, turning your yarn hobby into a business. It's okay to start this way. It's okay for maybe your end goal to be, this is a perfect outlet for me to make lots of different things and figure out what I enjoy making, and figure out what my contribution will be to the yarn industry, no matter what that is. Maybe I continue to make things. Maybe I design completely new things. Maybe I work for yarn companies. Maybe I consult and tell other people what to do. So I love that. I think it all starts with passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
So even though you're still kind of new in this business, you've invested a lot of time and effort and resources into this, I'd love to hear things that you've learned that maybe you wish you would have known when you began, or maybe things that you would do a little bit differently now that you do have some experience.
Well, like things I've learned is, I mean, that I wish I would have known, I guess, maybe it would be to just take it easy on myself. There's a lot of comparing that we like to do as humans. We compare ourselves to each other, like, oh, well, I should be on this level, or I should be on that level. And I did a lot of that at first, and I don't think that that's productive to do that.
No.
So instead of comparing, I just inspired to be like, okay, so obviously they can do this very well. How do I get better at doing that? Or, you know, something like that. Or like we were talking about before we started, like the whole blog thing, like I jumped right into that. Now, I'm not saying that I jumped into the blog because I wanted to lock down that AEP Crochet. I wanted to lock it down. I wanted to make sure, I couldn't find anything similar. Like there's an AE Crochet over in, I think they're in UK. But she doesn't have that locked down either. But I don't know who she is, but I love you, AE Crochet, whoever you are. I don't know who you are, but I was like,
watch out for your name. No,
right? No, I wouldn't do that. But and I think there's like an AEP design, but that's like something completely different. It's not has something to do with yarn or crochet. But I wanted to lock down AEP Crochet, and so I immediately jumped into WordPress. I got all that, you know, I bought my domain name. And now it's just it's been sitting there. Like I'll do something every once in a while, but it's not consistent, and it's not. So I wish like I would be a little bit more organized about stuff like that. And now that I understand the importance of all that, like I'm starting to get all that under control, and you know, I'm starting to really try to plan for that kind of stuff. But but like I said, I wouldn't have changed doing that though either, but I wish I would have thought out that part of it a little bit differently, because maybe my website, or because I'm going to have to more than likely just redesign the whole thing into something different, whatever I feel or whatever I'm thinking it's going to be. And so I wish I had more of like a game plan especially for that particular subject, like the whole, you know, blog thing and things like that, because you know, it's just kind of, you just don't know. I didn't know what I had to offer. I just knew that I didn't want anybody else to take AEP Crochet, so I was going to get it before anybody else did, in case somebody else out there
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, I think in this environment, I think that it's hard to find balance in, you know, is my market going to be in my local area? Am I going to get a lot of business from that? Or do I have to put forth a lot of effort into finding my market online? And I think that finding a market online sometimes seems easier, and figuring out where you best fit in, like where your personality is best set. You know, is it going to be Facebook? Is it going to be Instagram? Is it going to be you know, a .com, Snapchat, you know, where is it that I'm going to be comfortable connecting who I am and what I do in my brand with a platform.
Yeah, I'm definitely leaning more towards the Facebook and Instagram, I think, but I felt the need to have a blog almost immediately. Like I need to get this set up. Whatever I'm going to do with it, I don't know, but there's got to be one.
You need it to be an option. Well, I mean, I think that's very forward thinking, knowing that, you know, I'm not sure what it's going to be, but I know that it's important, and I'd rather have the option and figure that out later than not have it and wish I did.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I felt about it.
That was good thinking, lady. That was not a lot of people do that. I certainly didn't do that. I think I decided I needed a .com after I'd been in business for about 1.5 years. And then, you know, maybe your name doesn't match what the brand that you've put together. So I think that that's brilliant advice.
Well, thank you. I tried.
Yeah. Consistent marketing. Not everybody does that, lady. There are some big companies that don't have consistent marketing. You know, their Facebook page doesn't match their brand, and it doesn't match their Instagram, and they have to keep reminding you who they are. So I hear you. All right, we've got lots of questions here. Let me throw in some comments and some questions from our live audience here.
Yay.
Alicia made this comment a little while ago. She says, pertaining to you sketching out designs that you'd like to make. She says, I do that all the time. I have a notebook of designs that I have never done before, but I also don't know where to start.
Right.
Yeah. And you know what I did, and I feel that, you know, that is that recipe for, you want to master this craft. You want to make so many different things because you know that there's still so much to learn. And I think that it's a great trait to have, that to be inventive and to put, you know, to think outside the box, to know that there's a better way to do things, you know. And Amanda, I'm sure that that's why you're inspired to, and Alicia and so many other people, that's why you're inspired to design things, because maybe you follow a pattern, but you're like, this could be different. Or if I made this in a different yarn, it would slouch better or be more sturdy. Or why didn't they add ear flaps? Or why is this pom-pom so big? You know, when you start to question everything, it means that you've got a specific style and you've got something to offer. And maybe you haven't figured out all those elements yet, but you've got that thirst for it, and you're going to. Right.
Well, I felt like at one point I leveled up in the yarn life, because like I found a Karen, the first time I felt and I touched a Karen cake, I was like, I looked at it and I saw what the color changes were, and I was like, this would look perfect with a waffle stitch. And it was like the first time that something like clicked like that, like automatically. The first thing I thought of it was like, waffle stitch. That would look perfect with a waffle stitch. And it does. It looks beautiful with a waffle stitch.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, wow. Like I didn't know, you know, and so to me, I was like, I felt like I kind of like leveled up a little bit when I when I did that. I was like, ooh, I'm starting
to like there to that place that I earned. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It was cool.
I hear you, lady. All right. Beth is here too. And Beth says, I'm a stay-at-home mom to 4 kiddos and homeschool. And asks, how do I keep from getting behind on orders? At times I get inundated with orders and I don't know how to keep up. Other times I have 0 orders. And she's wondering if we have any tips for
her. For me, like I do that, like I have that problem too with the orders, and then also testing. Like you have to prioritize things for a little bit. And there's days when my house looks like a complete disaster, because when I'm doing anything crochet related, my kids absolutely pick up on it, and they're all over, like they're like, oh, she's not going to be paying attention for a while. So I'm going to go ahead and mess everything up. I look up and my house is just like a disaster area, and I had no idea. So what I like to do when I know that I have certain things that I need to do, I like to like at least give myself realistic goals, because if you try to give yourself too much, then you're just not going to meet it, and then you're going to get frustrated. So I know that I have to, like, I know like every day I want to do at least 1 load of laundry, and I need to make sure this and this and this is done in the house. And then when all those things are done, I sit down and I start crocheting, and I want to get at least this many rows done in this amount of time. And then later, if I get more rows done, awesome. If I don't get as many done, then I'm like, okay, that's okay. But you know, maybe I can pick it up later. You know, I'm not too hard on myself if I don't maintain all that stuff. But I do think a routine, like a morning routine, and just having like a, you know, like I'm a big bullet journal person. So like having like just like a set schedule for yourself, especially when you have a lot of orders, and just make like really realistic goals. and like the time blocking thing that we talked about,
Yeah.
like, you know, I mean, it's,
Yes.
you really just have to, and I've always had that problem. Like, it's just a balance issue. And some days you have it, you know, there's, you know, days where it's awesome and you've got everything done and you're still crocheting and you're like, yeah, I'm on top of it. And then there's other days where it's just a mess. And I don't think there's a perfect formula for that, but I do know that I do better when I have, just like when I have like a routine going and I have goals. And some days I make it and some days I don't, but I try not to beat myself up too much about it if I don't get those.
Absolutely. I hear you. And I do the exact same thing. I have to time block, especially because there's so much of my work too, you know, is actually crocheting things. And so I do something very similar to bullet journaling. It's a very small scale of bullet journaling. But I really enjoy those processes because it shows me exactly what I have to accomplish every day to get my work done. But another interesting, you know, part 2 of the question that Beth asked was, you know, there are periods of time where she doesn't have orders. And, you know, I love to turn times like that into a positive. There are sometimes I have nothing to crochet. And I love to take that as a creative pause to where I can research. You know, I'll look through pattern books, I'll look through stitch books, I'll look at what's trending, you know, things that speak to me, and that I take that opportunity to find new things to make. And maybe that pause will allow you to make things or find things that you really enjoy making that can be your new niche, that can be something to where you're cutting edge in the industry. Because sometimes when you're very behind, you're following trends and you're just mass producing things and you don't have time to think creatively. And so having that pause can be a good thing because it can give you one leg up in the industry.
Yeah, or use it as, like, I think the last time I had a pause was like Labor Day weekend and I got those shelves. So I was like, oh, I got to reorganize all my stuff. And so that was a cool little, you know, then I got to see everything I have and I get to figure out what I have and what I don't have and what I need. And so there's lots of stuff you can do with that downtime for sure.
It's not all about, you know, sometimes you doing small things like that, like reorganizing, taking inventory, researching. It may not put money in your pocket right then, especially as a business, but I think in the long run, it's smart to just kind of refocus and strategize and train and invest in that kind of, you know, education or those kind of resources. So it could be a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It could be. All right. And on that note, I don't see any other questions. I'm wondering if you're ready for the Granny Square Challenge, lady.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Let me make sure, because I was telling Amanda beforehand, I said, I have messed it up every single time. And this is such a simple thing. I don't know why I keep kind of messing up this process. So I'm going to my phone and I'm going to get the clock. I'm going
the stopwatch.
Stopwatch. Okay.
Stopwatch. You use the timer, I think. Yeah. Yeah. You've been using it.
I know every time I've messed this up, it's turned into like a comedy routine almost. Is Selena going to jack it up again today? All right, ladies. So you got your yarn. You want to tell us what yarn you're using, what hook you're using, and then you just got to make sure we're in frame so that.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to like do some adjusting. Okay, so this was a Karen cake from like last. I just grabbed one of my
very nice
Karen cakes. I can't remember. I think it was like a lilac one. It's not. It was one that they had the first year they came out. And then my Happily Hooked.
Oh, Happy Crochet Hook. Oh,
Happy Crochet Hook. Yeah.
You're a big fan too, right?
I'm a huge fan. I'm a snob now, pretty much.
I'm a huge snob. Into one. I know. Yeah. I'm a believer.
Yeah, so it's I hook. It matches, and I didn't really plan that, so that's cool that it matches.
I love that. All right,
not as fast as you. So we're just doing the first 2 rounds, right?
1 round. So
right.
One complete round.
Okay. Yeah.
So you're going to begin it, do 1 complete round, and then when you slip stitch to join that 1 round, then call time, and hopefully I'll have worked my stopwatch correctly. And then we can add you to our roster. Yeah.
Okay. Let me adjust.
Oh, Time to Crochet says, hair up. She means business. Yeah, she doesn't.
Yeah, I was trying to do it. Yeah.
She came here to win.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to. It's fine. I'm okay with it.
Okay. Tell me when you're ready and we'll get started. All right.
Okay.
So you tell me. I won't tell you. And then I'll hit start.
Okay. 3, 2, 1.
All right. And while that's going, here, let me see who else is here. Amanda, just take your time. And I'm going to give shout outs to other people who are here live. Time to crochet. She says, yep, hair up. She means business. Beth is here. I hope we answered your question, Beth. She was the one who asked about having orders or not having orders and balance, you know, working from home with kids. Alicia, it's always so good to see you here too. And Mrs. Lunn is here. She says, in reference to what we were talking about, that is literally exactly what I do. I'm trying to make a lot of different things to learn how to make them and see what I like to make. Yeah. And that's, you know, so many people start their crochet business or their yarn business because of that, because it's inspiring to make things that people will love and test your skills, broaden the categories to see what you're going to enjoy making. And you're not just going to have a stockpile of stuff that's sitting in your closet. Alicia says, I thought I was being too picky because she does the same thing. Well, she looks at patterns. We were talking about looking at patterns and changing them up or altering them. She says she does that every time she looks at a pattern. Yeah, that's the maker of somebody who wants to be a pattern writer, somebody who wants to redefine things to make them, you know, fit things they want them to function, or fit parts that make sense to them. So I hear you, lady. I hear you. It's a good thing.
And yeah, get in there, done. Oh, that
all
was
right.
terrible.
1 minute, 36 seconds. 1 minute, 36.62.
That's
awesome,
terrible.
lady. All right. No, you are great. Look at you. I love it. All right. Take a picture of that so we can add it to our Granny Square Hall of Fame. You're part of the Hall of Fame now, lady.
Oh, goodness. Watch out.
Part of the Hall of Fame. We'll add you to our roster in our Facebook group. And for those of you who are new to the Yarn Life show or haven't seen that before,
I might need to pin it first.
That's okay. Yeah, that's right. Be sure to wet block it. No. Yeah, no, for those of you who are new here who don't know about our Yarn Life group, we do have a group on Facebook and we chat about things all the time. And this is where a lot of our episodes are derived and we chat about them. And this is also where we have our Granny Square Challenge roster that Amanda's going to be added to. So we'll have a picture of her Granny Square up along with her time, and you can see all the people who have participated in there. Amanda, you got anything to add? Anything you want anybody to know, or any last bit of advice or anything pertaining to this before we close the show out?
No, you know, just keep on keeping on. Believe in yourself.
Well said. Well said. Couldn't have said it any better.
All deep and stuff to end it out.
I felt that in my soul. All right, guys. And also, Jess could not be here today, but she's got a great resource to share. So I wanted to tell you guys about that. We have this special resource from Jess for anyone looking to turn their yarn hobby into a business. It's 7 things every yarnpreneur should know. And that, again, is from Jess from our friends at yarnpreneur.com. And for your free download of these 7 things every yarnpreneur should know, please find the link in our show notes today. Again, it's a free download. So once you guys snag that, take a peek and come tell us what you guys think in our Yarn Life group. So what is next for the Yarn Life show? Well, we figure that out in our Facebook group all the time. We always have polls and conversations. So please join us on Facebook to vote for our next featured episode. We do have polls available for votes, and you can also enter in new entries that we have open every single week. And you can find our Facebook group link in the show notes today. In closing, guys, remember today's episode is sponsored in part by you. So please, again, check out our Yarn Life swag shop to pick up a token tee, tote, or mug today, just like the tee Amanda's wearing today. I've got the same one, but it's downstairs. I didn't wear it. So you are a true Yarn Lifer lady, to where I have failed miserably today. Remember, every purchase you make there helps us to create more great content, have more episode, and bring on even more amazing guests just like Amanda here today. So you can find our shop link in the show notes today. Thank you again so much for joining this episode in the Yarn Life show for your daily dose of fiber. We'll see you guys again next week. Thanks again. Thank you, Amanda. Thanks everyone for being here today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.